in Aberdeen. We advertise on WEEB because we get results. Every day, someone comes in and tells us they heard about us on the radio. Come in and ask us in person about how successful radio advertising can be for you and your business. Find your new customers by advertising on WEEB.
With me now is retired Air Force Colonel Andy Orander. Of course, Andy, you've had some recent pain. Tell us about that as well as what you decided to do about it.
Yeah, I had some issues with my L5 and S1 joint, walking around like Walter Brennan, in a lot of pain. And I went to a chiropractor. It was Dr. Wright at Pinecone, and she did this thing called pressure wave, and I highly recommend that to everybody.
Was it easier than you thought, or was it a painful experience?
It was non-painful, non-invasive. It's something I never really knew about.
And did it work, and would you gladly recommend it?
Absolutely, 100% it worked. I'd never heard of it before, and I recommend it to everybody I meet who have any kind of pain, arthritis.
If you're suffering from pain, why not schedule a free, no-obligation appointment with Dr. Sharon Wright at Pinecone Medical Center? Call 910-420-1911 or visit on the web at pineconemedicalcenter.com.
WEEB, we've got you by the ears. All the information without the spin. It's the Eric Erickson Show.
Greetings, welcome. It is Eric Erickson here. The phone number 877-973-7425. We've got people on hold. We've had a lot of news to go over, and so I haven't. I need to break down the news before I take your calls. But when we come back, those of you on the phones, if you'll be patient with me, I will get to your phone calls. I just need you to know, though, that Donald Trump did have a phone call with Dana Bash. It's, again, remarkable how accessible Donald Trump is on the phones compared to how inaccessible Joe Biden was. And none of these reporters in Washington seem to have questions about it. So Donald Trump has a phone call with Dana Bash. Y'all, it's just, whether you like him or not, he's got such a good sense of humor. She asks the president of the United States if he can confirm that Israel was behind the attacks. And his response is to say, and I quote, "Well, they didn't die of COVID, did they?" We don't have the audio of it because it was a phone call, Dana Bash relating the conversation. Literally, this is her transcript. Did that mean Israel? Does that mean Israel got them? Trump. Well, they didn't die of COVID. Well played, Mr. President. Well played. Hillsdale College actually has some great history courses. You can take one about, the history of the Middle East and Israel. You can take it free of charge. If you go to ericforhillsdale.com, E-R-I-C-K, ericforhillsdale.com, you should go check out Hillsdale College's program. And by the way, you can take these classes at no charge. If you go to ericforhillsdale.com today, you'll see an incredible list of 40 different classes. They cover history, religion, theology, literature, science, mathematics, economics, philosophy, political science. They've got some great classes on the early American Republic that you can take, on the founding of the country, the Constitution, the Articles of Confederation, so much more. They're completely free, all. There's got to be a topic you're interested in. Take it with the best faculty from Hillsdale. Do it at your own pace. You get a certificate of completion. You go to ericforhillsdale.com today. You will not be charged by Hillsdale College. You'll get a certificate of completion from them, and you'll get smarter about a topic you're interested in. Eric, E-R-I-C-K, ericforhillsdale.com. Go sign up today.
Hi, this is Rodney Swarms with Plumbing Night. We know that plumbing emergencies can happen at any time. In fact, they seem to happen at the most inconvenient times. And then inviting an unknown plumber into your home, that can add to the stress of the situation. The Plumbing Night wants to alleviate any stress about inviting a technician into your home by guaranteeing that we have not only the very best plumbers, but also the most knowledgeable plumbers. Before any of our employees are hired, all of the employees must undergo drug testing and a thorough background check. If they don't pass, they aren't hired. No exceptions. Once they're hired and part of the team, they receive continuous technical and customer training to ensure that they are the very best at their trade. This training is week after week, month after month, year after year. This training is what got us into community college to teach the plumbing trade. So the next time you have an emergency, call the Plumbing Night. They're known for extraordinary service and integrity.
Call the Plumbing Night at 639-5555, day or night, or on the web at theplumbingnight.com.
My name is Tony Keith of Keith Hardware in Carthage, North Carolina. I'm the third generation of a family-owned business. We've been in business for 83 years. We sell live bait, crickets, minnows, and worms, fishing tackle, nuts and bolts and screws by the piece. You can still come in and get nails weighed out by the pound, or ones or twos, however you'd like.
The guys, they know what they're doing. You don't have to ask for service. You tell them what you need. If they ain't got it, usually they can conjure it up.
Keith Hardware has been a tradition in this town for as long as I've been in business, 42 years, and they run a good business and they're good people.
I came in with 2 pieces of plumbing. I handed it to this guy, and he took off the back and picked it up and brought it back. Their knowledge is invaluable to me.
With Keith Hardware for 28 years. I rent the building from them next door, and Tony and Ginger are doing an excellent job. I'm proud of them.
Come visit Keith Hardware today at 207 Monroe Street in Carthage.
We're just an old-fashioned hardware store.
From start to finish, we get the job done right. Professional and caring, you're comfortable day or night. We're the local family, you can count on us. Right there, right on time, the ones you come to trust. 4 Seasons Heating and Air. Get comfortable with us.
4 Seasons in West End on Highway 211, 910-235-0606.
When trying to add the perfect window treatment becomes overwhelming, contact the professionals at Comfort Made Blinds. With quality brands like Graver and their expert advice, measuring, installation, and their warranties, all you need to do is sit back, relax, and enjoy your new window treatments. To get your Graver products and others, schedule your free measurement by calling Comfort Made Blinds at 910-692-5500 or visit the showroom at 195 Pinehurst Avenue next to Main Street Glass in Southern Pines. Mention this ad and take 10% off your next purchase.
Hey, it's Luke Black, proud owner of The Marketplace. Since 1980, we've been your neighborhood sandwich shop. We're open Monday through Saturday for breakfast and lunch. If you're craving a fresh sandwich, salad, soup, or a hot cup of local roasted coffee, we've got it all made fresh daily. The Marketplace can cater your next event from small office lunches to full wedding parties. You can rent our space for private gatherings after hours. You can find The Marketplace at 246 Olmsted Boulevard in Pinehurst. It's not just a sandwich, it's an experience.
Cooper Ford, the only locally owned Ford store in Moore County, announces Ford's From America, For America sales event. Now through the end of June, every eligible new Ford will be priced at employee pricing. That means you pay what they pay, while supplies last. Come in today and see why so many have made the short drive to beautiful Carthage and experience the difference your hometown dealer can make. Just off 15501 in Carthage or online at cooperford.net. Cooper Ford, always working hard to be your hometown dealer.
Romans 10:17 tells us, "So then faith cometh by hearing, and hearing by the word of God." Join the Calvary Memorial Church service right here on WEEB at 11 a.m. every Sunday morning and hear the Word of God preached.
This Weather Center report brought to you by JB Short Carpet 1, Highway 1 North between Southern Pines and Vass, or on the web at shortcarpet1.com.
Typical summer pattern for Father's Day weekend. We do have tropical moisture in place, so any showers and storms that get kicked off this afternoon or at any point over the weekend are likely to produce some heavy downpours. High temperatures in the mid to upper 80s this afternoon. Storms diminish after sunset, and then looking at overnight lows in the 70s. And then for tomorrow and Sunday, highs will be in the upper 80s, and Sunday there's a small chance for severe weather. I'm meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner in the Weather Center.
97.3 FM, 104.1 FM, and 990 AM. WEEB. We've got you by the ears.
Listening to the Eric Erickson Show.
Hello, it is Eric Erickson here across the United States. It is an open line Friday, and the phone number is 877-973-7425. We'll take your phone calls in just a minute. I need to, before I do anything else, however, bring you up to speed on a non-Israel-Iran story. Judge Charles Breyer, who is former Justice Stephen Breyer's younger brother, is a U.S. District Court judge in San Francisco. He has ruled the President of the United States cannot call out the National Guard without first being requested by the governor of the state of California, and has remanded the National Guard into the custody of Gavin Newsom. He held his decision, and the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals took it up last night and said it would not be enforced until after a 3-judge panel of that circuit has considered it. Now, I just want to tell you that, one, I think this is a bad decision, and two, put it in perspective that some of you on the left will have to acknowledge. His reasoning was that under the Constitution, if the president is not asked by the governor of a state to take over the guard, the president can't do it unilaterally. If that was the case, then George Wallace could have stopped the desegregation of the University of Alabama. The governor of Alabama, George Wallace, at the time denied black students access to the University of Alabama. The president of the United States called out the Alabama National Guard, I believe it was John Kennedy, and ordered the National Guard to forcibly integrate the University of Alabama. If Judge Breyer's decision were to stand, then George Wallace would have been able to prevent the integration of the University of Alabama, which means it's a bad decision. And also, it means progressives will every which way possible work, even through the judiciary, preserve their underclass of serfs to pick their crops. Time and time again, Democrats have fought in this country for an underclass to pick crops, whether it was slaves in the 1800s, whether it was poor blacks in the South during the Civil Rights era, or now it's Central and South American immigrants. They want to pick their crops to keep cheap labor. Democrats will do whatever they can to preserve an underclass of serfs to give them cheap labor. And you've got Judge Breyer in San Francisco working through the judiciary as a progressive to prop up the serfs in this country for Democratic cheap labor. And it's the President of the United States fighting against that. It's always the Republicans who fight against the underclass of serfs in this country, and yet the Democrats scream about civil rights. And again, if Judge Breyer's decision were to stand, George Wallace would have been able to take the National Guard back from the president and stop the desegregation of the University of Alabama. That's the logic of the case. That's why it will not stand on review. It is very clear under the laws of the United States and the Constitution, the president has the power to use the National Guard if he chooses, with or without the permission of the underlying state government. Now, to the phones we go, 877-973-7425. Sean, calling from Orlando, Florida. Welcome. You're on the Eric Erickson Show.
Hey, Eric. How you doing?
Great. How are you?
Good. Just kind of got a question, kind of see what you think, your concerns, or where we are. I love all the surprise attacks and technology with drones, flying out of trains and buses and whatever. And, we've let all these, illegals come in here and they've bought up land. China's bought land and buildings. And, who's to say this isn't going on under our feet right now?
Okay.
It just makes me really nervous.
So
and I'm just a dumb construction manager in Orlando, hoping that somebody higher up's thinking about this. But
Sean, I'm about to upset you further because I was going to get to this topic, and you're the perfect segue into this topic. And I'm sorry. I try not to cause nightmares, but I'm afraid I might. Okay, so Sean, there is something called the Defense Intelligence Agency's annual threat assessment of the U.S. intelligence community. And what the Defense Intelligence Agency does is it gathers together the National Security Agency, the Central Intelligence Agency, the Defense Intelligence Agency, and the other agencies that you don't even know exist. And they sit down every year. They produce a report on the things that keep them up at night, the things they're worried about going bump in the night. I have in my possession the 2025 Annual Threat Assessment of the U.S. Intelligence Community produced by the Defense Intelligence Agency in consultation with the CIA, the FBI, the NSA, and the other groups that none of us know about. And I will read you a direct quote. Iran also will continue to directly threaten U.S. persons globally and remains committed to its decade-long effort to develop surrogate networks inside the United States. That is from the Defense Intelligence Agency. And then they have a section, non-state transnational criminals and terrorists. I will read you this section. Transnational criminals, terrorists, and other non-state actors are threatening and impacting the lives of U.S. citizens, the security and prosperity of the homeland, and U.S. strength at home and abroad. Some transnational criminal organizations are producing and trafficking large amounts of illicit drugs that are imperiling American lives and livelihoods. They are conducting other illegal activities that challenge U.S. security, such as human trafficking, cyber operations, money laundering, and inciting violence. U.S. citizens at home and abroad are also facing more diverse, complex, and decentralized terror threats. Actors ranging from designated foreign terrorist organizations, including the Islamic State of Iraq and Asham, Al-Qaeda and other Islamic terror groups, and some drug cartels, to terrorists acting alone or in small cells, are likely to pursue, enable, and inspire attacks. Finally, large-scale illegal immigration has strained local and national infrastructure and resources and enabled or suspected terrorists to cross into the United States of America. And then there's a headline, Transnational Islamic Extremists. ISIS's most aggressive branches, including ISIS Khorasan and its entrepreneurial plotters, will continue to seek to attack the West, including the United States, via online outreach and propaganda aimed at directing, enabling, or inspiring attacks, and could exploit vulnerable travel routes. ISIS has suffered major setbacks and is incapable of holding ground in Iraq and Syria. In recent years, ISIS saw the U.S. defeat of its physical caliphate in 2019, the loss of 3 overall leaders in 22, 23, and 25, and renewed counterterrorism efforts this year, removing leaders driving global operations. Nevertheless, ISIS remains the world's largest Islamic terror organization and has sought to gain momentum from high-profile attacks. The New Year's Day attacker in New Orleans was influenced by ISIS propaganda. Al-Qaeda maintains its intent to attack the United States and U.S. citizens. Its leaders, some of whom remain in Iran, have tried to exploit anti-Israeli sentiment over the war in Gaza to unite Muslims and encourage attacks against Israel and the United States. Al-Qaeda's military apparatus issued statements from leaders and the group's affiliates supporting Hamas and encouraging attacks. Other Islamic groups continue to pose a threat to the United States. Y'all, it's all documented right here. The total number of migrants trying to reach the United States has dropped significantly since January 2025 due to a surge in border security enforcement. However, there are concerns about those who are able to cross the border who have not been found inside the United States. We know about the people we've caught at the border. We've documented the people we've caught at the border, but there's something called the gotaways. And there are hundreds of thousands of gotaways over the last 4 years. Those are the people who got away. We know we can statistically sample within reason how many were coming, who was able to be stopped or not. We know of those we stopped, a number were ISIS adjacent or adjacent to Iran. We know about people. We caught people. It's been documented. The U.S. Department of Justice has prosecuted, arrested, and imprisoned people who tried to cross the border who were affiliated with terror cells or with Iran itself. But we know there are gotaways, and the problem with the gotaways is we don't know who they are. We know they exist. We don't know who they are. We don't know where they are. We don't know what they're doing. Yeah, I wrote this last night. Let me read you. This is what I wrote. My final thing. You can text data to 33777. You should. It was a brilliant piece I wrote this morning. I love my title, A Fiery but Mostly Peaceful Night in Iran. The Biden administration's porous border let a lot of people funnel into this country, some of whom are labeled gotaways by federal officials. We caught multiple people from Iran. We caught multiple people with terror ties. At the time, the media worked hard to downplay those captures because it made Biden look bad. The FBI, CIA, and Pentagon in the past 3 years have all expressed concerns that some of the gotaways could be terrorists. Again, you might not have heard this because so much of the press was in protect the precious mode with Biden, but I'm concerned about sleeper cells. In the Defense Intelligence Agency's 2025 annual threat assessment of the U.S. intelligence community, it notes Iran will continue to directly threaten U.S. persons globally and remain committed to its decades-long effort to deploy surrogate networks inside the United States. The same report also raised the issue of transnational terrorism, illegal immigration being tied together as a point of entry to the United States for bad actors. Joe Biden made it very easy for Iran, and should my fears come true, the American press corps will rush to blame Donald Trump. You know they will. You know they will. You know they will. It is a concern, and it's one we should be thinking about. Hate to cause you some more sleepless nights down there in Orlando, but it's a legitimate issue. It really, really is a legitimate issue. Now, John in Palm Coast, Florida, welcome to the Eric Erickson Show. How are you?
Yeah, I'm very good, Eric. I have my initial question was about the martial law, but if I could make one comment after I'm done concerning the threat assessment you just talked about. But concerning martial law, from my research, it's 12 times in American history martial law has been declared. Now, the president can declare it, Congress can declare it, a governor can declare it, but only within the confines of his state. And this is illegal through Article 1, Section 9 of the U.S. Constitution because it suspends habeas corpus. I'm wondering, and there was 3 times in our history when, due to public safety and rioting, martial law was declared. So I'm wondering if things get so out of hand that President Trump would eventually have to do that.
I don't think so, and I would dispute a little bit your understanding of it. The habeas corpus language in the Constitution is a little bit nebulous. But when Lincoln tried to suspend habeas corpus back during the Civil War, the Supreme Court added a little bit of clarity to it that since it's in Article 1 and not Article 2, Congress has to be involved in the suspension of habeas corpus. The president can't. Now, there is, however, the Insurrection Act, which has often come up with people who are concerned about Donald Trump. That the president can assemble the military to assist civilian personnel. That's something the president has cited in Los Angeles. But there's also Posse Comitatus Act from the 1800s that prevents the military from actually serving as a police force anywhere in the country. So like the military going to California has said that they can't actually arrest American citizens. They can detain people to be processed by civilian authorities, but the military can't arrest people. And the president, I actually don't think has the power to suspend habeas corpus. Stephen Miller has suggested he does, but I think if you look at the Supreme Court precedents from the Civil War, that'll get thrown out of court by the conservatives on the Supreme Court because it's an Article 1, Section 9 power in the Constitution. It's not an Article 2 power. I also think it's overstated. I think that a lot of times people get worked up about martial law and can it be imposed? Will it be imposed? Governors can do it very easily in their states. Like I'm texting, so I'm going to be in Louisiana this weekend with my parents, and they're on Monday, and my sisters are texting like, there's supposed to be a big protest in Baton Rouge. I'm supposed to take my parents to lunch in Baton Rouge tomorrow. And I'm like, Jeff Landry's the governor of Louisiana. If the protesters try anything, I mean, he's going to run them over. I don't think in red states it's going to get out of hand. And in blue states, it might get out of hand at the permission of those governors. And that's going to be on them, not on the rest of us. But I just don't think the president actually has expansive martial law power. That's my reading of the law and the Constitution. I mean, other people I'm sure can disagree. The Supreme Court will have to sort it out. But generally, habeas corpus suspension would require congressional intervention. And the Insurrection Act has to be read in accordance with the Posse Comitatus Act that doesn't allow the military to operate as police inside the United States, but only to assist local police and law enforcement functions. Now, let me tell you about Swiss America, because this is, look, I don't quite understand the Basel III regulations that are coming up. I'm going to be honest with you. But I do know they're coming. The Basel III regulations, this one's kind of wild to me. When a lot of people buy gold, for example, in this country, they don't actually buy gold. They buy a certificate that claims they own gold. And you can supposedly cash in the certificate and get the gold. But the problem is that in many cases, people don't realize it's like 100 to 1 when it's the paper versus the gold. The Basel III regulations are going to find 85. You've got to tie 85% of gold to the paper certificate, which is still not 100%. Only gold can be a tier 1 piece of collateral like property or actual money, and the Basel III regulations actually deal with that collateral issue. Banks are realigning their gold reserves, and that's one of the reasons that gold prices are going up. What can you do to protect yourself? Probably you need to talk to my friends at Swiss America. They're the trusted leader in precious metals in this country for 40 years. If you're interested in gold at all, they can help you. You can call them at 800-289-2646. That's 800-289-2646. In July, the BRIC nations, Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, are meeting with 40 other countries. They're trying to move away from the U.S. as the reserve currency and the trade currency in the world, and they want to go back to gold, so they're buying gold reserves as well. So gold prices going up around the world, not just from inflation. Swiss America can help you if you're interested in getting in on gold investment. 800-289-2646. That's 800-289-2646. Just mention Eric sent you. Message and data rates do apply.
When the truth seems hazy, Eric will clear the way. It's the Eric Erickson Show.
When Dr. Ben Carson, Larry Elder, and John Rich decided to start a pro-America online bank called Old Glory Bank, people scoffed. Aren't all banks pro-America? In the last 4 years, we learned who big banks really are. Big banks share customers' data with the government. Big banks debank Americans because they don't like their politics, but not Old Glory Bank. From the beginning, we created Old Glory Bank to be a fortress for privacy, security, and liberty. This is why Old Glory Bank is one of the fastest growing banks with more than 50,000 customers across all 50 states in just 2 years. We answered the call. Join fellow patriots by owning a piece of the bank that was pro-America when pro-America wasn't cool. Freely tradable shares of Old Glory Bank stock are now available. For details, go to own.oldglorybank.com. Investments involve risk, are not FDIC insured, and are not guaranteed. See our offering circular.
It's the start of a new year, new you, new time, new technology. You keeping up with the times? My goodness, Vision Computers wants to help you, your company, your home, your kids keep up with technology. Now listen, college applications are dropping, kids are getting admitted, your kid's going to need technology. Vision Computers can help you. Your business headed into this year, got new technology, you need new graphics cards, you need new computers. Vision Computers can build them. Laptops, desktops, they'll take care of you. Not only that, they'll service your computers. You'll get a phone number that you can call if you have any question about how your computer operates. If something doesn't work, you think, or you need to figure out something, they can help you faster than a Google search. All you need to do is go to visioncomputers.com, visioncomputers.com, or call them 404-COMPUTE anywhere nationwide. Call Vision Computers at 404-COMPUTE. Tell them I sent you. You'll save even more money. Do business with visioncomputers.com. Call them at 404-COMPUTE. You'll never lose sleep over your computer again.
Looking for a dealership that truly puts you first? Visit Pinehurst Toyota Hyundai, where your satisfaction is our top priority. Whether you're in the market for a new or pre-owned vehicle, or your current car just needs a little TLC, we've got you covered with the Pinehurst Advantage Plan. You'll get 24/7 roadside assistance. That's 5 years of unlimited coverage, including towing, battery jump starts, and flat tire changes. Plus, with any major service, enjoy a complimentary loaner car, so you're never left stranded. With our 100% customer satisfaction guarantee, if you're not completely satisfied within 72 hours of purchasing your new or pre-owned vehicle, just bring it back. It's no wonder for the 3rd year in a row, we've been voted Best of the Pines in 2024 for Best Dealership Service Department. Ready to experience the Pinehurst difference? Visit us online at pinehursttoyota.com or pinehursthyundaiονline.com. Call us at 910-692-2424. Pinehurst Toyota Hyundai, where quality meets customer care.
If you're like most folks, you love your home. You love your neighborhood and those that live around you. But when you go inside your home, you see that it is in need of a massive updating, especially those bathrooms, kitchen, and great room. You know that these areas need upgrading, but you also know what a task it is to do it yourself. Hi, I'm Steve Leader Adams, and I've built over 2,000 homes, and I and my partner Larry Postawade have over 70 years of construction experience and have our own remodeling business called Relive It Remodeling. We also pride ourselves on making remodeling jobs an easy and enjoyable process for our clients. We look after everything from permits to the last paint stroke. We also show up when we promise and stay until completion. And we also recycle any materials through the Wounded Warrior program. And here's one more promise. Nobody, and I mean nobody, does better quality work than we do. For your next renovation job, give me a call right here at WEEB at 692-7440 or check us out on the web at relivitremodeling.com.
Listen to us anywhere on your smartphone or tablet with the TuneIn app, free at your app store. Simply search for WEEB.
Get Eric's daily show prep email. Text DATA to 33777 and you'll be in the know.
Welcome back. It is Eric Erickson here. The phone number 877-973-7425. Want to take one more call here. Pierce, welcome to the Eric Erickson Show. How are you?
Hey, buddy. How you doing?
Good.
Been a while. Hey, don't you find it kind of strange how quiet the Arab nations around Israel are?
Nope.
I mean,
don't find it strange at all. It's real notable.
It's notable, and it's almost like their silence is saying, "Go, boys, go."
Yeah, I think they are.
Get them, Benji.
Pierce,
I think they really are.
By the way, it's not just the Arab nations. China.
Oh, yeah.
China said nothing.
China.
And people don't understand this. So the Chinese and the Iranians are purported allies at the moment because the enemy of our enemy is our friend. They're both in opposition to the United States. But China has real concerns about Iran's ties to Muslims on the western border of China and also Iran's regional control. As China wishes to assert itself more within the Middle East, China is rubbing up against Iran that asserts itself as the authority of the Middle East. And the Chinese will abide no religious fundamentalists because the Chinese are communists and they really distrust anyone with religious conviction. So the Chinese are also somewhat quiet. There is breaking news right now. The Islamic Republic of Iran state media, as well as individual Iranians, are right now reporting there's heavy air defense activity near Pasteur Square. That is where the Supreme Leader's compound is located, along with the various Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps facilities, Ministry of Intelligence, and a number of bunkers. It is happening right now. Israel is yet again attacking Iran. As we are live here, it is, just for a timestamp right now, 1:58 p.m. Eastern Time in the United States. It is dark in Iran right now, the middle of the night, and new bombs are being dropped. There are explosions being heard around Tehran right now. Israel, again, it said it's going to be several weeks that this goes on. So when we come back, I'll bring you the latest. It's Eric Erickson across the nation.
Thank you for making us a part of your day. We're Talk 97.3 FM, 104.1 FM, and 990 AM WEEB. And heard around the world at talk973.com.
With me in the studio is Sue Maxwell, who is a patient at Pinecone Medical Center, where Dr. Sharon Wright practices chiropractic medicine. Now, Sue, you went there with pain. What kind of pain was it, and what did you do about it?
Yes, I had arthritis in my cervical spine, and I had pain that radiated out through my shoulder, down my arm. I went to see Dr. Wright, and she did the pressure wave therapy on me. Through treatments and everything, I actually eliminated the pain in my spine and in my shoulder.
So did the pressure wave work as advertised?
Oh, my goodness, it did. Yes, I am pain-free.
And would you recommend it to your friends?
Absolutely, and I have. I have told many friends.
If you're suffering from pain, why not schedule a free, no-obligation appointment with Dr. Sharon Wright at Pinecone Medical Center? Call 910-420-1911 or visit on the web at PinecomedicalCenter.com.
Broadcasting from the top of the North Carolina Sandhills. 97.3 FM, 104.1 FM.
I learned patience from my adopted.
WEEB, Southern Pines, Pinehurst, Aberdeen.
After the Israeli attack on the Iranian nuclear sites, what happens next? Military Affairs Analyst, retired Lieutenant Colonel Robert McGinnis.
Still open as to whether or not it's going to lead to a broader regional war. We've heard from Russia and China already, and understandably, because of the strategic relationship with Tehran, they're not going to, praise what's happened, but they've been somewhat restrained.
One official said Israel is prepared for an operation that could last up to 2 weeks, but that there was no firm timeline, and it would depend largely on how Iran responds. With all.com, Major General Scott Sherman, commander of Task Force 51, who is overseeing 4,700 troops, said that Marines have finished training on civil disturbance. During this conference, he said about 200 Marines have moved into Los Angeles to protect federal property and personnel.
They will take over for operations today at noon at that location.
Major General Scott Sherman. The black box has been recovered after that horrific Indian plane crash on Thursday. Over 240 people died. Final preparations being made for this weekend's massive military parade in Washington, D.C.
Security fencing and barricades are in place throughout the nation's capital, and the Army has been laying down metal plates to prevent damage to D.C. streets when super heavy tanks roll through the city. President Trump ordered the parade to celebrate the Army's 250th birthday. Military displays on this scale are not common in the U.S. Critics say it's an authoritarian display of power, but supporters view it as a once-in-a-lifetime chance to celebrate the Army's achievements over 2 centuries. Greg Clugston, the White House.
Then on Wall Street, all 3 major indexes are lower due to the Mideast situation. More at townhall.com.
NCN News, I'm Melissa Vale. Oil prices jumped to a 5-month high on Israel's attacks on Iran. CBS's business reporter Jason Brooks has more.
Americans will feel the surge in oil prices at the gas pump in the coming weeks, and according to energy market analysts, there won't be much relief anytime soon. Capital economics analysts point out that 25% of global oil supplies and 20% of liquid natural gas shipments pass through the Strait of Hormuz, which is vulnerable to Iranian attacks. And an analyst with financial firm ING says a serious disruption in the strait would hike the price of oil to around $120 a barrel. Research firm TS Lombard, however, says that if the U.S. refrains from intervening, that will lessen the threat to oil supplies.
Indian investigators have recovered the digital flight data recorder, or the black box, of the Air India flight that crashed a day earlier. The crash on Thursday killed 241 people on board and at least 5 people on the ground. Civil Aviation Minister Ram Mohan Naidu said that the black box recovery Friday marks an important step forward in the investigation. Fayetteville Mayor Mitch Colvin, who is currently serving his 4th term, officially announced today that he does not plan to run for re-election. At a news conference, he said,
"It's important that the voters choose their next. They will go through a thorough vetting process, as I had to do, and they have to give their vision for what they see and where they would like to take the city. And so I don't want to be involved in that portion of it and try to choose your successor."
Colvin is a native of Fayetteville and has been mayor since he was first elected in November 2017. The Lee County Sheriff's Office has made an arrest in a months-long investigation into a fatal overdose from March. The Sheriff's Office arrested 35-year-old Freddie Jason Valdez, who is being charged with death by distribution. According to the Sheriff's Office, investigators determined Valdez gave drugs to a person who overdosed in March. You're listening to NCN News.
Here at NC Cyber Academy, screens are a good thing. At our K-12 tuition-free virtual charter school, your child can find a flexible and personalized education that lets them take a brain break when they need it, but also provides structured one-on-one time with our amazing teachers. But we also power down our laptops for in-person activities with fellow students to build community. Visit myncca.com to learn how we can set your child up for success in the classroom, at college, and in their careers.
Healthcare? Why?
Why is it so hard?
Healthcare is broken.
At Blue Cross and Blue Shield of North Carolina, we get it.
Really?
Really. That's why we're making healthcare better for all, starting with you.
Really?
Really. We're making plans easier to navigate by putting all your benefits, prescriptions, and details on your computer and phone.
Convinced?
No, but it's a start.
We'll take it. Blue Cross, North Carolina. Making healthcare better for all, starting with you.
This is the perfect time of year to bust out all your Echo tools and equipment from Beaver Equipment. Thanks to all the storms, my new Beaver Equipment chainsaw from Beaver Equipment has been getting a good workout. Beaver Equipment is the place to go for rough and rugged Echo equipment for real men. They offer 5-year warranties and are locally owned and operated. So, man, get out there and enjoy your Echo Power equipment from Beaver Equipment. Now at the new location, 2833 East Indiana Avenue, near the intersection of Highway 211 in East Indiana, near Coldcraft.
Typical summer pattern for Father's Day weekend. We do have tropical moisture in place, so any showers and storms that get kicked off this afternoon or at any point over the weekend are likely to produce some heavy downpours. High temperatures in the mid to upper 80s this afternoon. Storms diminish after sunset, and then looking at overnight lows in the 70s. And then for tomorrow and Sunday, highs will be in the upper 80s. And Sunday, there's a small chance for severe weather. I'm meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner in the Weather Center.
This hour of the Eric Erickson Show is brought to you by Ward Rowland, your State Farm agent in downtown Southern Pines at 277 West Pennsylvania Avenue. Call 910-725-0915.
Hello, America. Welcome. It is Eric Erickson here across the United States. The phone number 877-973-7425. Should you wish to be on the program, I would be delighted to have you with me. If you text Eric, E-R-I-C-K, to 33777, get the live stream, the show notes, the podcast, all that. We've got to get into the situation. There's breaking news happening right now. There are fresh strikes hitting Tehran. Air defenses have been activated. The Iranian air defenses are old Soviet air defenses. They're not even really Russian. They're Soviet from back in the day. And they have American air defense systems. And what Iranian sources are reporting is that the 1970s U.S. air defenses are better at detecting the Israelis flying in than the more modern Soviet-Russian systems, but none of the systems are capable of taking the Israelis out. They don't know until it's too late that the Israelis are on top of them. There have now been secondary explosions as the sun set in Tehran outside of a weapons depot. The weapons depot had been hit last night. It has been smoldering all day with Iranian fire officials trying to put out the fires. Something has happened in the last hour, and there's been a massive cataclysmic secondary explosion at the weapons depot, where also nuclear material had been stored, according to the Israelis. Bombs are now falling inside Tehran, around the area where the Ayatollah lives, where senior government officials live, and where several bunkers are. All of this is happening. I'm talking to you live on air. The Israelis have again said this is going to be a multi-week operation, and they're not going to slow down. Now, while this is happening, listen, I let me again say, I have said, I think that we have collaborated with the Israelis for a number of factors. I think we've collaborated with them because Israel couldn't have pulled off these multiple sorties without some coordination with the United States. They needed satellite. They needed things like that. Clearly, these attacks have come. But I do want you to know, a friend of mine in the intelligence community thinks that actually what happened is Israel did pull it off themselves, was quick to give Trump credit when they knew it was going to be a success so that he would buy into it. As I'm on air, a senior government official involved in foreign policy reached out to me and said that his understanding is actually that the U.S. senior foreign policy leadership was caught off guard, that they were led to believe Donald Trump wanted to do a deal with Iran and that Israel's strikes would not be imminent. And so the State Department staff actually were, and the foreign affairs staff were, completely thrown off guard. That could be so. But remember that Iranian officials did embed agents inside the Biden administration. There may be some concern they're still there, and so Trump kept his mouth shut. The corollary there on the other side is that Trump never does keep his mouth shut. So you can look at this how you want to look at it, give him credit or not. My position is I'm going to give the president credit here. We clearly had to be involved, even if an intelligence and satellite sharing opportunity. The Americans were able to do it. It wasn't leaked. It was successful. It needed to happen, and it is a good thing. And also, from a practical political standpoint, I think it is helpful to expose people like Candace Owens, Tucker Carlson, Daryl Cooper, and others as the Israel haters that they are, as the Jew haters that they are. And to the extent they are blasting Donald Trump today for his complicity, in the words of Tucker Carlson, I think it's notable that Iranian citizens are in the streets of Tehran tonight cheering on the Israelis, and it is American alt-right podcast bros who are condemning both Israel and Donald Trump for his complicity in an attack. I think it matters greatly. I think that it matters to the extent that our government needs to stand with Israel and, frankly, needs to stand with Ukraine. And I think that when these voices who have become influential on the right begin to expose themselves as unaligned with the interests of most conservatives, and actually their statements mirror those of people like Rashida Tlaib and Ilhan Omar, that you should be asking yourself questions. The crowd that's always just asking questions, I'm just asking questions. You should be asking questions about the people who are always just asking questions. And we should also note the very bad investment that Qatar made on an influencing operation. Now, I need to spend a moment on this particular issue. You should note how quiet Arab nations are today. It actually matters that the major Arab partners in the Middle East, they're not saying anything public. They're not condemning Israel for this. None of them wanted Iran to get